Oh, hello everyone. Good to see you again. I've been refining those drawings that we have been working on for the last 4 weeks. And you'll remember all the process with the eyes and the nose and the mouth and such like, and the proportions. And if you have forgotten them, they're still there on that video on YouTube from last week that you can make reference to at any time you like and go over these things again. Freeze them, look at them, check them out. Anyway, I am now working it out a bit more better. The idea is that every time that you actually approach a piece of work, you're refining it, you're making it better. You start loose, you finish tight. Don't start tight and finish loose. That's going to be a real mess. So you're basically narrowing in and zeroing in as time goes by to create a more professional and realized painting. So I am transferring it. As you can see just now, I'm working on the nose in this figure. And every time you draw yourself, I use the mirror here. It's interesting because you'll see different aspects of yourself. If you're working from a photograph, and there's no harm in that, everyone does, but it's also good to look at the life of the face as well, because it keeps changing. It alters depending on your moods, your feelings, your emotions. The kind of night of sleep that you had can affect the look of the face, as we all know. And one looks different in the morning than one looks in the night. So all these things affect the painting and give it many multi-layers of meaning. So it's always good to keep looking at your face and seeing different things in it. And if you're doing another model, I know somebody's doing his brother, the same process. You'll see different aspects of them. And that's the psychological insight that gives a painting greater gravity and greater spiritual meaning than a photograph. So you will be going out to the Blick art store. I've already sent emails, and it's situated beside the Apollo Theatre in Harlem, and it has boxes of art materials which are specially for you. I've made a deal, and the box would normally be $120. It is now $42, and get them as soon as you can because they will sell out quickly, and you're going to need those materials for the rest of the semester. We're going to be starting to gradually move the drawing into the painting. So that's why you need it. So I'm going to just, as you say, refine some of this drawing. I mean, it's all up to you how much you put into the drawing because you're going to be covering it with paint. I'm actually working on a sheet of wood here. You're going to be working on the canvas, which is going to be like that. It's lighter and easier to carry. Mind you, if you can't afford a canvas, just use a piece of wood. I mean, it doesn't matter what it's painted on. Anyway, I'm going to just basically work up a bit of this nose in this figure. You can see it's quite a bit of a development from the first study to the second study. I'm starting to home in a bit on it. Now, you know I'm working with pencils at the beginning, which all of you are, and I think there's one student who's using inks, and very good they are as well. So I've got, as you know, an interest right now, not always, but in the last few weeks, pencil sharpeners. So this is an ordinary, everyday, well, not quite everyday, because it's got 3 ways of sharpening the pencil. And that's a pretty good sharpener, actually. This is the one I showed you last week, which is kind of more fancy. I guess you can carry this around with you. And I managed to get it cheaper than the actual price. So that's, I think, the only reason I buy it, because you know, actually behind all the fancy metal and everything, it's just a normal pencil sharpener inside it. So a triumph of style over substance. Anyway, last week, I'm going to unbox this. I've never opened it, so here we go. I managed to get this, the ultimate pencil sharpener. So let's see what that's like. And I can tell you this, I kind of had to think twice because I had it sent over from the United Kingdom and it was not cheap. So this is it. The first time I've taken it out the box. It's just recently arrived. These are the blades that come with it. Fancy. And you can see I've done no preparation for this. Here we go. Out it comes. Yes, it's just a tiny thing. It's smaller than I thought. And I'll try that out later, but that basically needs some reading before I can understand what it's all about. A razor blade goes in here and it'll go down here. I see. So it's just, yeah, it's a tiny thing. It actually operates just like a wood plane. So once the razor blade's in there, I'm not going to spend the whole talk doing this, you'll be sharpening the pencil like that. Now hopefully that prevents me breaking the points of pencils. That's the only reason I wanted this little thing. And next time I see you, I'll have that operating. I'm sure none of you want the whole talk based on that. Anyway, here we go. So I'm drawing in, I'm fixing it. Those students who have really a lot of difficulty drawing have shown me their work and I can see where it's going wrong. You know, they're basically finding it extremely difficult just to balance out the features. So, you know, short of boring all of you and going over everything again, most heads, maybe not all heads, but if you use your fingers or a ruler if you want, all heads will be a third from the top and a third from the top of the head to the top of the eyebrows, and from the top of the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose is a third, and then from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin is a third. I don't know if that is easy to understand, but I can't explain it any simpler than that. The eyes, there's one eye here, and then there's the space of one eye, and then you begin the other eye, okay? So you've got one eye in between your eyes, that's the space, okay? And then you've got a line that goes from the top of the eyes, which reaches the top of the ears, and then you've got a line from the bottom of the nose, which roughly will be where the bottom of the ears are, okay? And then you've got a line going down from the side of the eye, here, and that will take you to where the neck is, okay, roughly. Everyone's slightly different, but these will give you at least a thing that resembles a human being. The cheeks are going to be just lines coming in here, and the shadowing will stop them looking too fierce, you know, as if they're drawn on, just painted on lines. So I'm shadowing in here with that. And the nose, you'll remember it's 5 lines. 1 for the side here, 1 for the side here, 2 little curvy lines at the edge, 1, 2, and then the line down here on the nose for the bottom. It goes downwards, the bulb of the nose goes downwards. And then you've got the shadows in here. Then you've got this space. And then you've got the mouth. Top lip is always darker. Lips are all different sizes. You know, I've got quite thin lips. Some people have got different sizes. The whole range of humanity. And so you can do whatever size you have. Top lip darker, bottom lip. And remember the lines curve a little bit there if you're wanting to get them to look puffy. Just put a few curved lines and then a shadow under here. Shadow underneath the chin. And that shadow underneath the chin is going to make the face project out a bit from the neck. Because you don't want a neck that's looking like it's coming straight from your chin. You want to have the, if you look at me there, you can see that the neck is quite a bit further behind my chin. Okay, so that's that. So there he is. So we're going to move on next to the working on the paint. So I hope everyone's okay with the face now. Now, let me tell you this. Stop stressing and trying to get it perfect at the beginning. You'll never do that. You can wait until the end. It's a process. It's not an instant perfection. And you can apply that to your life as well. Don't try to get things instantly perfect. Let them be imperfect and let the thing evolve into whatever kind of perfection it has within its imperfection. That's the beauty of life. It's not perfect. It's perfect within its imperfections. So if you can follow that, if you understand what I'm saying, you have got artistic abilities within you. If it makes no sense, you may be very left-brained and literal-minded, and that's okay. You'll find something in life, not art. So, we're going to take the paints. Now, you will have got an art box from Blick. If you haven't got it yet, get it as soon as possible. I was showing you the Reeves paints in the first talk. I think Blick have put their own paints in the box, but I asked them to get specific colours. They may have the one here which is called Burnt Sienna. Burnt Sienna is a kind of reddish brown. Okay. Burnt Sienna, and I'm going to try it in Spanish. It's Sienna tostado. Sienna tostado. Okay. I don't expect a lot from me there. I'm just doing my best. So Sienna tostado. Now you may also have different browns. I'm not sure. You might also have with your selection a darker brown. You can use either of these. That you can see it's quite different. Let me see. You can see it's quite a different brown. This is a much more reddish brown, and this is a much more darker brown. So this is more of a burnt umber. They're both different, and they're both useful. I mean, and you can use them for this beginning stage. After you get the drawing on the canvas, which I have been doing, this is in effect my canvas, you start with what's known as the underpainting, okay? So you don't go straight in with the colour of the face, you go straight in with the underpainting. It's kind of counterintuitive. It's like painting the shadows before you actually paint what's on top of them. But if you think of it like building the foundation of a house deep into the ground, it gives the painting more solidity and stops it looking very superficial and weak. So it gives it much more of a feeling of 3 dimensions, and like a house that's built on foundations that go deep in the ground, it can weather the storms of the next weeks and it won't be a disaster. So it's the same kind of principle, make your painting have a good foundation. So you're going to need 2 containers. I've got a couple of cups here. One is for painting water, okay? And the other one is for cleaning water. So you're keeping one of them relatively clean, it's just for painting. And for cleaning out the paint, use the other one. So you need 2 containers at least. Okay, so I'm going to take now you'll have this set as well with the brushes. At the beginning, just use the smaller of these brushes in that set. The selection goes from pretty big to very small. So if you have that selection, just take the smaller one and also the brush that's got the point on it. Okay. So using that and watching the face, you're going to start to paint on top of the shadows that you've created with the pencil. So I'm just going to go over some of the parts of the face here, this colour to begin with. I'm kind of just shaping it in. That's it. Now I've got brown eyes. I don't know what colour your eyes are, but I'm just going to do them brown like that. I don't know if you can see this. So you're basically sketching out things, but you're trying to use it as a combination of drawing and painting. So you're refining what you've got. You can see there that I'm putting in a shadow. I hope this makes sense. I don't know if it's that easy for some of you, but try your best. You know, I'm not going to be too judgmental on some of them. Now, I'm going to go around the edge of the face. I'm going to use the paint and make the top lip darker than the bottom lip. Now, when you want the acrylic paint to look lighter in terms of tone, just use more water. Darker, more paint, okay? So you're using, in effect, the acrylic paint at this stage like watercolor. So I'm just going to do the shadow quite light at the beginning there on the nose. Can you see that? See? Now, it's a good idea to have some kitchen tissue or cloth or something like that, because you're going to want to wipe down the brush every so often just to keep it a bit drier, okay? Now, putting the shadow under the chin, putting a little shadow under the lip, making this come out here. I'm going to use the slightly harder, bigger brush from the Bristol pack. In the shadow goes like that. Now it's loose at this stage, loose as anything. I'll just knock in the hair. Now it doesn't matter what colour of hair you've got, blonde, grey, black. I'm knocking it in with this brown paint just to give a sense of hair. But don't worry about the hair, you can do it at the very end. I'll leave out the grey. So it's building up bit by bit by bit by bit. You know, I'm just going to get one from back here. Which I was working on yesterday, which is of this girl. And you can get the idea of it. You know, I've done the eyes in fairly realistically, and it's all done with one colour, which is the burnt sienna, the reddish brown. The hair's done with that. I've got her wearing a sailor's hat, but I haven't done anything with it. I've worked up the lips, as you can see. There is, let's try and get this. You can see the lips are kind of more refined starting. and I've used the paint to lighten, I've just left the white of the sheet of board canvas underneath it blank, so you can see that, so the highlights are there, but I've used water to kind of soften and lighten the colours and the lips and the shadows under the lip. I've just started working on the neck a little bit. The nose is just loosely defined at this stage. This is just maybe 1 hour of work on it. So the nose is starting, and I've got the edges. I've got the 5 lines. 1 line here, then a curving line here, 1 line here, then a curving line here, and then this going here, down, and the nostrils. And I've got the eyes, the eyebrows, and basically you're just going to put a tone in at the beginning, like this, a tone of shadow. And that's all you do this week. A tone of shadow using either burnt umber, one of the browns that you have, burnt umber or burnt sienna, and go very light at the beginning. Don't go too dark with the shadows, because then if the shadows get too dark, it's hard to put the skin over it, because then they kind of like jar against it. So you want it blended in. Also, make the edges smooth like I've done here. Don't make them like sharp edges, so it looks all jagged. Make it smooth and gentle, and make it go with the shape of the face. The whole point of what you're doing is trying to make the face look 3-dimensional, not like a flat cutout, but to give this sense that there are 3 dimensions. So you want to go with the shape of the face. So if you're painting a shadow here, it should curve with the shape of the cheek, so the cheek is curving, not flat. It should curve here, it should go here, a little shadow around the forehead, because the forehead isn't flat like a box, like Frankenstein's head. It's got curve in it. So you want to be aware when you're moving the brush that the brush moves. The brush moves, I'll show you, the brush moves in a curving motion. So you're painting, you're using the brush and you're thinking with it. You're not doing it like a robot, just You're thinking all the time, you're alive to the brush, and you're making things form shapes that concur with the shape of the face, so that when you go in the cheek, your brush moves in a cheek motion. When you're going in the nose motion. When you're going under the eye, and an eye under the eye motion, like that. Sweeping round, like that. For girls who women who put on makeup, it'll be easier, you can work that out. Okay, that's it. So we'll do that this week. That exhausted me. So that's it. So I'm just going to work this up over time. It's a bit boring watching someone painting something. So we'll let that settle down a bit. And here we go. Last thing, if you're wanting to make him have a kind of space, put it in a space at the beginning. I take a little bit of brown paint. It doesn't matter what you're eventually going to put in the background. I mean, you could put a sky, or you could put a forest, or it doesn't make any difference, but you can paint over this paint. But I'm just going to make him stand out from his background by putting a kind of brown shading behind it. I'm actually going to take some of this tissue . Just give it a kind of patina. basically you're trying to just break up the white surface of the canvas so that it becomes less intimidating and it becomes more yours rather than this kind of bright thing that you're looking at. You know, you're breaking up the surface and you're starting to kind of own the painting. You know, it's starting to slowly come to life. So that's the underpainting, and I'm going to hold it there because I'll just keep going on and on. So for this week, get your exercise in. Today's exercise was due today, which is the 22nd of September. So next week's will be 7 days from now, which will be the 29th. So I look forward to seeing whatever you can do. Hopefully, if you haven't managed to get the canvas by then, just keep working on refining the drawing on the paper so that you're ready to go onto the canvas as soon as possible and you don't fall too far back. Okay, I will adjourn it there, and I wish you all a very great week. I am delighted, I was looking for this machine, delighted to see you all, and once again, contact me anytime. You know that I respond to your texts, and you know that I respond to your emails as quickly as possible, and I do try to give you as best advice. You know, don't forget I'm working with almost 100 people, you know, so it's, you know, I do the best I can and get information over to you and make sure that it's all tailor-made for each individual. So wishing you all the best. Bye for now. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.